Good morning out there. Happy Saturday morning. Grab your coffee. A little brief coffee talk because I need to get busy. I just got buzzed by a woodpecker. It was so cool. He was huge. First I think it was him, this incredible squawking sound. I need to look it up. It sounded like a freaking jungle. And then I saw him jump from tree to tree, crawling up the tree. Huge, with the most bright red head. And then he flew over there, and then I heard the squawking sound over there, which makes me think it was him, but I didn't think woodpeckers did that. I don't know. I'm becoming a little bit of a bird watcher in my old age. So hope you guys are doing well. Let me show you my fresh picks today. I just picked these this morning. Look at that. It's a cafe au lait. That is a coveted flower for wedding florists. That is the breakout. I'm going to go back to that one. That's one that's just started blooming. So I didn't even know what it was going to be when I left here last time. It was just buds, and so this is what it is. That is kind of in the color palette that we're going to do for the flower arranging class. Yellows, pinks, corals. Isn't that just gorgeous naturally in that? In fact, I probably will use one of those in my arrangement if I have one that day. There's another cafe au lait, another cafe au lait. These little puff balls. I think that was supposed to be one called Small World. It is not that because those are bigger. Small World is like a little tight golf ball. That's Lillian's favorite dahlia, is Small World. But these are not that, but these are so prolific. That has just been giving and giving and giving all summer. And that is fantastic for an accent flower and arranging. So for those of you taking the class, let me show you this. That's my vessel I'm going to use for the class. One of the cool things about taking flower classes is you often get a vessel. This came out of a flower class I took, but I absolutely love this vessel. Probably about 5 inches across, probably about 5-6 inches tall without the pedestal. That's what you want. Somebody sent me a picture yesterday of one they were looking at getting that was just under 4 at the top, but the neck went in narrow, and that is beautiful. It's fantastic. But it's like this, see what I mean? How that goes in narrow. And that's just gonna limit your stems. And it's gonna make the need for the tape issue that we're doing less necessary. You'll see when we get there. So you could use something like that and make a beautiful arrangement in there. It's just the thing that we're gonna do on Wednesday is a little bit different than that, the technique. But you do you. If you got that, do it, use it. So I'm excited. I'll be going to Trader Joe's Monday morning. I will share with you my haul that I get for the class. Not that every Trader Joe's will have the same thing. Some of you may need to go to the grocery store to get your flowers. And I got to thinking this morning that one thing you can do, if you find that color palette in a pre-made bouquet, you can get that, because grocery store is limited in terms of selection and prices are higher. That's why I really push Trader Joe's, because the prices are incredibly low. Like some of these bunches you're going to get are going to be like $3, and we're going to work with about 6 bunches of varying sizes. Just make sure you get a lot of different sizes. We'll have some really big ones, like if you get garden roses, if they have those there, those will open bigger than what they look like in the bunch. Lilies, of course, they'll be, a lot of them will be buds, but they'll open huge, so those will be our big flowers. I'll probably use a dahlia or two for my big flowers just because I have them. But make sure you get other sizes, because we're going to play around with that size, texture, proportion and stuff like that. But mainly it's going to be the color palette. And this, I call the Danny style, which is just very flower, very bloom focused, and less about filler and greens, more about the blooms. So I just want to play with that because I have been experimenting with that myself. I'll share it. So anyway, this day's getting off to a good start. Today, though, for me is about chores, because yesterday was about fun. I cleared off my electronics in my craft space. I set it up. It was so exciting to do that. And I spent, quite a bit of time doing that part, just putting stuff away and going through my craft closet and finding all kinds of treasures in there that I did not know were in there, which was exciting. God, I didn't know that existed. I don't even remember buying that Bluetooth speaker. So yeah, it's just fun finding stuff. Like John gave me for Christmas or my birthday a while back this super cool traveling watercolor kit that's all contained in this small little white plastic box, but it has everything, like the paintbrush and the watercolors and I think the paper and everything. And like, I thought about taking it with me when I went down to my flower a few days in southern Pennsylvania, but I had no idea where it was, and I found that. So, and also getting just inspired by all the stuff I've been collecting and tucking back there. Like, it was just fun to just go through that and set up my space. I started working on one tree. It sucked. I reminded myself this morning that, like, it's the first pancake. The first one's going to suck. I haven't done this in a while. I'm not in my groove with it. I had to walk away because partially my neck and shoulders started killing me because I was sitting there like hunched over, like at the table focusing for like 5 hours before I realized, okay, my neck is dead right now. And also, I don't like it. I had to step away from it because, like, I don't like this at all. So I'm afraid to go up there and look at it now. And then I realized, oh my God, now I remember what the mistakes that I make. And, like, I just need to consider, if I haven't done it in a while, the first one's the first pancake, and just have it be a throwaway thing. And, I mean, they're all beautiful in their own way, but, like, no. So I'll see if I can salvage this one, but I'm probably going to just set this one aside and start all over with another one. Anyway, so that's one thing. And, with the creative process too, just know that, it is a process, and I'm pretty good at this, but I haven't been doing it for a while. So I got to get back into my groove. So luckily I have lots of supplies, lots of things to work with. And so you can always just begin again. So that's what I'm going to do. The other thing that occurred to me this morning that I want to share is about surprising yourself in life. Like, I don't know, are you a person who likes surprises? I do. I like surprises. So finding those things in the craft closet, that I tucked away for myself. Dinner last night was a surprise. And I thought, I'm going to do more of that. Like, put things in the freezer. I should put the date on it. But I had no idea what it was. I just could see like a lot of veggies in it, and thawed that. Oh my God, it was the most delicious chicken and veggie and like some coconut sauce that it was so delicious, something that I made, and rice, and tucked away. I froze it because it was so good. And then I had it last night, so I didn't have to prepare any food and for dinner, and that was just sitting there waiting. But I was like, I really surprised myself with something that I had pre-made and tucked away. And then this dahlia, this breakout dahlia, this one, I've been watching this because this has been this is going to get this whole size of my head when it opens. I've been watching this for weeks, and it's just been like buds that have been forming, that they're big buds, but I didn't know what it was going to be. I had no idea what color, what variety, whatever. I thought it was going to be another white one. I just couldn't tell. And then I've been away from this property for a week, and then I came back and like, whew. So that's another thing. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to mark my dahlias going forward. I'm going to just put them in the ground and surprise myself, because I only buy tubers that I love, so I know I'm going to love them. So just, just little tricks to surprise yourself in life, I was thinking of this morning, is just another way to sort of romanticize your life. Back to dahlias. If any of you are growing dahlias, I know I talk a lot about gardening, but it's my jam. I learned something that I'm going to try this year, because I did try overwintering them. That means you lift the tubers out. They don't, unlike tulips and daffodils and stuff, they don't stay. They will die. The tubers will freeze and die in over winter. So you got to take them in the house, and it's a very involved process. You lift them up. You can put a tuber that's like the size of your thumb. It looks like a tiny little potato, and by the time the season is over, it looks like an octopus with like 12 or 15 of those coming off of it. I mean, they really do multiply under the ground. So when you take them out, you got to go through this whole process of washing them, and I don't know, there's all kinds of what people think to do, dividing them, marking them, storing them in a particular way so that in the spring you can stimulate them to start growing. It's a process, and it didn't really work for me. I did it the last couple years and not so much, so I ended up buying new tubers anyway. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So I saw something online, and I'm just going to share this because I'm going to try this year, where they said cut, when you have to, after the first hard frost, which hopefully, keep watching the weather app. Like I got 10 days ahead that don't have it because they're gone then. I have one other plant that I have no idea. It's got a big juicy bud on it, but I have no idea what it is. I'm so excited to see it bloom. Anyway, when you have to cut them down after the first hard frost, take your plant and just lay it over, like I'm thinking like a funeral, like a coffin, like a grave site, and lay it over where your tubers are. Lay all the debris of that over the top, then find whatever else you can find, which is prolific here, leaves or whatever, just because that's going to compost into that soil, and just pile that up on top of it where you have your tubers, and then put a tarp over that. So I got to find some sort of a tarp to cover them with, and leave them over winter. And that would be the best, actually, because they'd get a jump start in the spring. They'd come up earlier. They'd already be like undisturbed in the ground if they'll stay alive like that. We'll see. I'm gonna try it this year and give it a whirl, and see what happens. So anyway, just thought I'd share that. Today is a day of chores for me. Yesterday was a day of fun. Today is a day of chores, and I am so grateful to be able to do chores. One of which is I'm making, that's actually fun, but out of our homegrown tomatoes that my brother and I have been nurturing all summer, I'm making tomato sauce and tomato paste. Believe it or not, tomato paste is very easy to make, so I'm going to make that today. And I told my brother that for Christmas dinner this year, I'm going to make a luscious, delicious lasagna out of our tomatoes, using the tomato paste, tomato sauce, and maybe even some of the tomatoes that I've just cooked down. So in our lasagna, so we can enjoy the fruits of our labor on Christmas Day. And he was thrilled about that. And because he doesn't really eat tomatoes, he's been watering them for me because they're over at his house in these grow bags. Oh my God, these San Marzanos have been growing like crazy. So he's been watering them. Tina, one of his caregivers, has been picking them. She gave me some of her tomatoes because she had too many. So I've been using hers as well. I'll give her some sauce. And so we've had a very, very good crop this year. And my brother really enjoys it. Almost every time I talk to him, he'll give me the report on the tomatoes. I think it's so nurturing to your soul to grow things. And I make him a part of it. Now, my neighbor and I had this discussion yesterday about getting another county plot just to grow. What does she want to grow? Lisianthus. Just to try growing a plot of Lisianthus. And I said, well, why don't we throw some zinnias and cosmos in there too? Because those are just practically like weeds. We can grow those and they don't need a ton of attention. And then when I'm not down there, my brother could water those for me because he enjoys that, he enjoys watering. So, and of course we'd be sharing it, so she would be there if I'm not physically there to water. So anyway, might do that again to have a little cutting garden in that. So I'm excited about the tomatoes today, and I got to do a lot of cleaning and stuff because I just avoided that yesterday because I just decided yesterday was a day of fun. And I enjoyed it until my back and neck and shoulders were killing me after being lost in space with my glue gun over my desk for 5 hours. All of a sudden I look at the clock, it's like, it's 5 o'clock. How did this take? Where it's, and I'm like, it's 5 o'clock and my neck is killing me. I need to stop. And I hate this tree that I'm working on. So step away from the desk, put down the glue gun and step away from the desk. So I did. I haven't been back up again since I unplugged everything, but I will be. I'm going to set this one aside, start over with another one. I can go back and revisit this one, but that's the nice thing in life. I recommend a creative project where you get lost in space for hours and hours and hours, just in the groove. And that was me yesterday. But now today is about chores. And it's like I've said to myself, you can go back to the studio after you get some chores done. So that's going to be today. And I'm looking forward to that too. I tell you, these Adelsons, they had an impact on my life in that appreciation for the mundane things. I need to do some stuff in my kitchen and whatnot. And it's like, thankfully, I have a kitchen that I can do stuff in, that I have, you know, all my stuff I just love. I don't have stuff around me that I don't just love. If I do, I find another home for it. But, you know, I get to, you know, interact with the things that I love in my kitchen, and that includes wiping off my countertops and just all the things. So it's a luxury to be able to do that when you compare yourself to somebody who has lost that forever. I bet that's the kind of thing that Donna Adelson misses. It's just, you know, going around her house doing just mundane chores. She'll never be able to do that again. I mean, she might be able to work in a kitchen in an institutional setting with their institutional materials, but that's it. I saw a woodpecker a little bit ago. It was just like Woody Woodpecker. He was huge though. I mean, huge. And this gorgeous, like, gray, black, tan markings and the bright, bright, bright red head. And I think it was him making this insane, like, jungle sound. Like, what is that? He stopped making it though, but I heard it over there, and then I saw a woodpecker, and then I heard it over there, and then he jumped to another tree, and then he flew over to my neighbor's. Then I heard the sound over there, so I think it must be coming from this woodpecker. I had no idea they make that kind of a sound. So I'll have to look it up and see. But it was like a screeching, wild jungle sound. So that's exciting. It's exciting to see. There's a heron that we see around here. I like to see these like super dramatic birds. Hope you are all having a wonderful weekend. I'm gonna polish off this coffee and go run an errand and then jump into my chores, which I'm going to embrace and enjoy doing today, with feeling the breeze from outside on my face and putting whatever music on that I want to, or whatever I want to have in my environment, because I get to choose that. So choose wisely. All right, catch you guys later. Hope you're having a good one. And I'll be posting on Monday about what flowers I get at Trader Joe's to give you a little more inspiration of what you might get to. All right, talk to you later.